Hi, I'm back with an exciting video on investments. Last year at the end of 2023, I shared with you really good insights about how this year was phenomenal for me in terms of my growth, my consistency, in terms of our channel growth and all. But this year, I'm not going to talk about myself. I'm going to talk about how the year was in terms of investments that you might have invested. And I'm going to talk about how you can benefit from 2025 by forming a really good investment strategy. So I'm going to share really practical tips with you that will help you form a really good plan of investment in 2025. So watch this video till the very end. Let's dive in. If I give you some perspective, if I talk about 2024, it has been a phenomenal year for stock market, especially in Pakistan. As you know, when the year started in January 2024, the index was around 61k, 62k, and now it touched even 115k, 116k at the time of this video's recording. So the year was quite phenomenal for the stock market in Pakistan. Usually on average, there is a growth of almost 20% in the stocks market of Pakistan. There is a similar pattern around other countries as well. So you have got inflation of around 10 to 15%, and then you have a GDP of almost 4.5%. So if you add both of those, then it gives you the measure of the increase in the market size. And that is basically around 20%. So that is the number that the stock market increases every year. So if you talk about stock market, some sectors did really well. So for example, the auto sector did really well, and Sasgar stock went up through the roof. Some stocks like Havel Car, which is by Sasgar, their stock performed extremely well. So the stock value more than doubled during this year. So the year was very good. I'm not seeing the same level of gains in 2025. I'll explain within the video later on. But as of now, I'm going to share with you that recently I did a podcast on investments and the tips or advice that you should follow for 2025. And you can watch it by clicking over here. I sat with K-Trade's chairman, Ali Farid Khwaja. This podcast is packed with powerful insights on investments. Let me share you 3 insights from this podcast. Number 1, the stock market trend that you're seeing right now, it is not a bubble. It's the performance of the market. Too many people on the YouTube are selling courses, and then they tell you that some of them try to create sensation around it, that it's a bubble and you should avoid it, so on and so forth. But you need to understand, usually on an average every year, Pakistani stock market grows by 20%, and that growth is natural. And some years you will see higher growth, and some years you will see even negative growth. So on average it's 20%. So you need to invest in this market carefully. You need to understand the difference between investing and trading. Most of the videos on YouTube these days are filled with advice on and tips and tricks about technical analysis and watching the volumes and basically taking the entry at the time of dip and then seeing it grow up and taking an exit on the peak. But you need to understand, this is just a very zoomed in view and very micro view of the overall situation. Overall, you're better off if you make long-term investment. Your gains are going to be substantially higher if you're planning and doing investments for a long term. On technical analysis, things change drastically when you've got some major news, political news, or some instability coming into the country. The market takes a dip. Sometimes the market manipulators also create an artificial dip or an artificial rally. So you need to be careful of that. So it's better to avoid trading on a day-to-day basis because you will end up losing money. Secondly, don't invest without learning. First, you need to learn the basics of investment, and you need to understand that. And you need to understand the cycles, the market cycles, the economy. Once you understand all of that, then you should take an entry. Usually people take entry and when the market is currently right now. So as you know, from the start of this year, the stock index was around 60k and now it's over 110k. So people take an entry at a very high level and then they still expect it to go even further up. But it doesn't happen. Nothing goes upwards forever. That's what you need to understand. It must come down as well. So only few months are remaining and you need to be very careful. That is what I'm going to talk about when we reach the section where I share with you my advice for 2025. For now, you need to understand that you need to learn the basics. That is what Ali Farid also explained in his podcast. And thirdly, you need to be diversifying. So diverse across different sectors. Don't just operate in one sector. The reason for that is one sector can go down. For example, banks are now not performing that well because the interest rate has come down, and previously the banks were giving almost over 20% plus profit, but now it's reduced to 13%. As a result of that, the banks are unable to give their investors the same amount of money. So there's not that much money going into the bank. That money is now moving into stock market. Next year, it might move into real estate as well. So you need to think about diversifying within stocks and also otherwise into other asset classes like digital assets or like real estate. So diversify, that's very important in your investment strategy. So these are the 3 lessons that I learned. You need to watch this podcast. I've shared the link with you already, so do watch it. This podcast is full of really useful insights on investments. Now, if we talk about other assets like crypto or Bitcoin, as you know, Bitcoin was around 40K at the start of this year, and now it's about even reached 108K. And now it's come back a little bit, cooled off a little bit, and now it's around 95K and 96K. Usually the last week, which is the holiday period, Christmas and New Year, it's slowly very low period. You see low volume gains. However, there are market manipulators. They keep on, the price fluctuates quite a lot. It fluctuates otherwise as well. But this period is very shaky. So stay away from this. Avoid making an entry right now. No need to panic. No need to take an entry right now because the market is going to be quite shaky during this period of Christmas holidays and till the new year. Now we come to the most important part, which is what should be doing in terms of investments in 2025. So my advice to you is that, as you know, 2023 late part and 2024 were very bullish in terms of stocks and even for crypto. But now things are going to cool off a little bit. Do not expect that kind of volumes in 2025. In January, February, March, we might see very good volumes, but then you will see things tapering off and going down. So be very selective about making an entry right now. If you want to make an entry, be selective and only invest in sectors which have not yet performed really well. For example, refinery, which is waiting for a policy from the government, has not done very well. So that's something that you can consider for investment now. So be very choosy and selective if you want to make an entry now. Secondly, this is the time to consider taking profits, both in stocks, also in crypto as well. You need to plan taking profits, because sometimes it happens that the peak comes and you don't take profit and you stay there and you think that's going to go up further and it starts crashing down, and then you lose that opportunity till the next cycle. Next cycle usually comes after a few years. Your money gets stuck and you see very, very low, and sometimes you see terrible losses when you're stuck with that and you have to wait. So that is not advisable at all. Do consider taking profits in early part of 2025. So I will leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll be focusing more and more on stock investments and digital assets investment. I'll be sharing really useful insights. I'll be bringing in experts like I brought Ali Farid Khwaja recently. I'll be bringing them over here and we'll be sharing really useful information and practical information for you to shape up really good investment strategy that will lead you to financial freedom. Thank you very much. I wish you a happy new year. Bye now.